Welcome to the happiest place on earth. I'm speckled pink that you could join me. G'day and welcome to Disneyland California. My name is Nadine and I won the most amazing travel prize on Australian Breakfast TV. So far, I have visited my sister and I travelled to the Maldives where I had a magical time swimming in the crystal clear waters. I cruised with dolphins and went snorkeling to a deserted island. I then tried to visit Singapore on the way home to Australia. That was an adventure in itself because they wouldn't let me in. So what do you do instead? Fly across the world to LA where you visit the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. Ever since I was a little girl watching Disney on a Sunday night TV, I have wanted to visit the Magical Kingdom. Founded in 1955, it is the only Disneyland that was constructed under the supervision of Walt Disney. He bought the land in what was then rural Anaheim with the idea to make a theme park for movie fans to visit with their families. And the rest, as they say, is history. All these years later, Disneyland is in the hearts of adults and children around the world. So join me as we spend 3 incredible days in a magical journey across Disneyland and California adventure.
The wonderful world of Disney.
Instead of going straight to the main attraction, we kicked off our 3 days and started with California Adventure Land Park. We strolled through Hollywoodland first and saw the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel on a movie set. In case you missed it, that's the hotel we stayed at while we visited Hollywood. Next thing, we're at the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout ride. This ride is part of the Avengers campus, beginning in a room with Rocket, culminating with a ride of terror. Smile for the camera. We walked out of that ride grinning to be met by Wakandan warriors. Walk a little further and your local friendly Spider-Man is doing his thing.
Hey everyone! Okay everybody, open house is canceled.
Wise idea.
But I could use some help. Head to the Slingers and we'll team up to stop the spider boss before they destroy the campus.
So after saving the world, we refueled. Get it? Refueled? I thought it was funny. We ate at Flo's V8 Cafe while checking out Radiator Springs. Then on to the Cars ride. Radiator Spring Races literally takes place straight out of the Pixar film. So much fun. We rode it twice. You board your car with a group of people and race against other cars through the sleepy town of Radiator Springs. If you can, get to this attraction early as the lineup is in the sun. Single ride queues are always worth checking out too.
Whoa! Slow down! You're not racing yet. Just follow Mater into town to get ready. Mater, coming, Sheriff!
It takes more than new tires to win a race. Congratulations.
We found a quiet spot on Pacific Wharf for a cool drink, then headed around to Pixar Pier to ride the Incredicoaster. This is much better at night, but shorter lines during the day. That worked well for us. The line was short for Toy Story Midway Mania, so we jumped on in. It has a vehicle that has 2 attached rootin', tootin', pointin', shootin' devices, and you'll play arcade games to rack up big points in the hopes of becoming the best in the vehicle. This was fun for little and big kids alike, but have your hand sanitizer ready as it was really sticky. Ew. We decided to head back to the hotel for a little nap, but not before going through Grizzly Peak and riding the Soaring Around the World attraction. This is a screen-based ride that gives you the feeling of floating over great landmarks of the world. There are a lot of smells and sensations. I love this one. After a nice little nana nap, we went back to ride the Monsters Inc. ride. Mike and Sully to the rescue. This ride tells the shortened story of the movie. This was one of my children's favourites, mine too. Even though we all know the story, it's good to see our favourite characters come to life.
I'm watching you, always watching.
We hung around the pier and rode the Pixar Pal-Around Ferris wheel, where we had a great view of our hotel. I FaceTimed my mum back home in Australia from the top. How amazing is technology? Talking of our hotel, there is plenty of accommodation within walking distance. We chose to stay at the Paradise Pier Hotel, now known as Pixar Place. The hotel was lovely and had a surf vibe to it. Keep an eye out. Disney details are everywhere, as you would expect. We did a lot of steps in those 3 days, well worth being close to come back for a nap, rest your tired feet for a few hours. Day 2 of our 3 days at Disney was the main attraction itself, Disneyland. Nothing will ever prepare you for that feeling you get walking into Disneyland that first time. That inner child is bouncing around, your face is beaming. Before this trip, I had watched plenty of videos on the perfect itinerary, but my one and only goal was to experience the Star Wars Ride of Resistance, so I made sure we were there early. I had downloaded the app and we had paid extra for a Genie Plus pass. This got us through rides faster and we got bonus photos along the way. First there was the adrenaline rush of getting through the gates, going through security and clicking that app fast enough to make sure we had secured a ride later that day. Oh yes, we did! Crisis averted. We strolled down Main Street where there were shops. Oh, you know I'm going to check those out later. And there were lots of food opportunities. We headed into Adventureland and boarded the Jungle Cruise. This was loads of fun, with the boat captain being a bit of a stand-up comic too. Indiana Jones Adventure is considered by the Disney team members to be one of the best rides in Disneyland. You wind your way through caverns and queues to board a vehicle and help Indy on his quest. The vehicle is buffeted around and there are lots of cool effects. And of course, as heroes, you win the day. We both enjoyed this one, but we didn't ride it again as it was a bit rough. It was fun though. We then walked around to, guess where? Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And truly felt like walking into the set of a movie. The Disneyland Imagineers have done a fantastic job on this. When I was a little girl and saw A New Hope at a drive-in theatre, yes, I am that old, I was hooked on a galaxy far, far away. The detail that has gone into this creation of this fantasy land is amazing, and a credit to the Imagineers of Disney. We joined our time slot for the Rise of the Resistance ride.
BB-8, prep the ready room for recruits.
We were taken through multiple pre-ride scenes that fully immerse you into the unfolding story.
The Resistance desperately needs your help. May the Force be with us.
Kylo Ren tries to kidnap you, Stormtroopers open fire, and you drift under life-size AT-ATs. Lots of flashing lights, thrills and spills that make you feel like you're truly there.
The Resistance will attempt to rescue the prisoners.
They have neither the resources nor the courage to engage us.
You underestimate their conviction. Raise the shields! There's no escape. You will tell me the location of the secret base.
You guys really like cutting it close, don't you?
Hands down the best ride I have ever been on. We went straight through to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride, which takes you for a walk through the famous old hunk of junk and gives you the chance to take on the role of pilot, gunner or engineer. High on our success of helping the team, we crossed the park to Tomorrowland and rode one of the original rides, Autopia. A little bit slower than the rest, but Jay loves his cars, so we had to give it a go. We played with Buzz Lightyear and the Astro Blasters. Again, get that sanitizer ready. And we stopped for a bite at the Galactic Grill. Up into Fantasyland, and we were surprised that the Matterhorn was closed, but you do get that. After all, maintenance is important. We decided to ride It's a Small World. That ride is full of history. Originally created for the World's Fair back in 1964, with spinning characters from around the world. I quite enjoyed it. It's sweet. Talking sweet, we rode the teacups. How fast you go depends on you. Jay was in control, and we went fast, real fast. After that bit of fun, Jay went for a nap and I did a bit of retail therapy. Okay, maybe more than a bit. We returned in the evening and enjoyed the light show, took in the wonder that we were at Disneyland. Sore feet weren't holding us back for our third and final day. We rode the fire engine down Main Street and headed into Tomorrowland for the Star Wars launch bay. This was a flight simulator with C-3PO at the helm. Although not as fancy as the much newer attractions, being a die-hard Star Wars fan, I enjoyed it. We crossed the park again to New Orleans Square to check out the Pirates of the Caribbean. The square had a great atmosphere and the ride was a boat steered through a maze of animatronics that were extremely lifelike. We also did the Haunted Mansion, which turned out to be one of my favourites. It was very well done with ghastly scenes, ghosts and apparitions in an old southern mansion. It is one of the oldest attractions in the park, opening back in 1969, and it's truly stood the test of time. We hopped aboard the Mark Twain paddle steamer for a quick cruise and then off to Galaxy's Edge. Again, I highly recommend paying the extra dollars for a Genie Plus pass. We used this multiple times throughout the park to get the most of our time. Having Genie Plus means you can reserve access to certain attractions, minimising your valuable waiting time. It's like having your own magic genie grant you wishes throughout the park. We were also able to get photos from our time at the park. These are great to look back on. Another tip is to make sure you have a charger for your phone. That app is your key to the park. Check out the shops at Downtown Disney, which stay open even after Disneyland is closed, for that extra bit of retail therapy. Our 3 days in Disneyland California was an adventure filled with laughter, thrills, and unforgettable memories. There is so much more I would have loved to tell you about Disneyland, but that video would go on forever. So I hope watching this inspires you to plan your magical journey to Disneyland. Stick around until the end of the video to see how much of the prize is left. And until next time, stay enchanted and keep spreading the Disney sprinkle of magic fairy dust.